All right. Good morning, fifth graders. This is going to be your assignment for May 4th on reading. So it's all about this famous person in history. Her name is Elizabeth Burgin, and she's kind of a cool person, and I didn't know she even existed. So this was new learning for me after reading this article. So I'm going to read the article to you, and then I want you to fill out this table recording your thinking. And I want you to have two things for each box. So, two things you already knew, and if you don't know anything there, you can put two questions instead. Um, if there's, I want you to put two questions you have, things that you're curious about after reading this article, and then two things you learned in the box, the final box. And then I'll go over the summary at the end. So, I'm going to go ahead and open up this article. And you're welcome to follow along with me. In fact, I would highly recommend that. All right, so Elizabeth Burgin was one of the many women living in New York during the American Revolution. She could see the British ships that held American prisoners of war and began to visit the ships to give comfort to the men trapped inside. Many of these ships were known for carrying disease and filth and very little food. Elizabeth did what she could for the men, bringing them food and nursing their despair. Once, after visiting the ships, she was approached by an American officer that had plans to help the prisoners escape. He wanted Elizabeth to not only warn the prisoners in an effort to prepare them, but actually participate in the escape because the British only allowed women visitors on the ship. With courage and over the course of several weeks, she helped smuggle 200 men from their certain death and was never caught. The British, after learning of her exploits, put a $200 reward on her capture. This is a significant amount for any soldier, let alone a woman. $200 is equivalent to a whole year's pay for a soldier, so they had great incentive to try and catch her. She was forced to flee from her home, leaving all her belongings behind. When she reached a safe distance, she wrote a letter to General Washington explaining her plight. He sent this letter on to the Continental Congress. Regarding Elizabeth Burgin, recently an inhabitant of New York, from the testimony of our own escaped officers, it would appear that she has been indefatigable for the relief of the prisoners and for the facilitation of their escape. For this conduct, she incurred the suspicion of the British and was forced to make her escape under disturbing circumstances. The Congress voted to give her a pension, and she remained her life far from her origins. Nothing else is known about Elizabeth's life, not even the dates of her birth or death. Her bravery lives on, however, through her example of charity and willingness to serve her country and fellow men. So, pause there. So we just read the article. Some things that stood out to me is how brave that Elizabeth must have been to being willing to risk her life and capture in order to help these American soldiers. So we're going to write a one-sentence summary of the article using this format. So you only have to write one sentence. So, who is our somebody in the story? We're going to use this format. Who is the article about? Well, the article is about Elizabeth Burgin. What did she want? She wanted to rescue American soldiers, but she was scared that she would get caught. So she ended up overcoming her fear and rescuing over 200 soldiers. And then she relocated and lived her life in a new location far away from New York. So I would write that sentence down. You can change it slightly, but the somebody's obviously not going to change. It's always going to be Elizabeth Burgin. What she wanted, that could change, but what stood in the way? So what did the person do to overcome what stood in her way? Okay. An example of this type of sentence might be, Cinderella wanted to go to the ball, but her evil stepmother wouldn't allow her to go, so her fairy godmother showed up and used magic to give her a dress, shoes, and a carriage so she could go on. Then she met the prince and they fell in love. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Please make sure you have two things for each box and one sentence of a summary using the somebody wanted but so then strategy. All right, good luck.